So there's this really great analogy that I came up with for people to better understand how calories are incorporated in their lives. I like to tell people that if you're struggling with weight gain or you're looking to either lose some body fat, gain some muscle, calories are an important part to start. Calorie deficit is what dictates whether or not you're going to lose weight or not. And so understanding what you put in your body and what you take out of your body is important. But today I just want to focus on the actual calorie part of it and a really good analogy that I came up with that I think can affect a lot of people, or at least better explain to them how you can have a better relationship with a calorie and understanding what they are and how you can better benefit from them. And so really what you need to think about is think of calories as money. The less calories that I eat in a day than I need, right? If I have a budget of 2,000 calories a day, I eat less than 2,000 calories, right? I get to earn. I save that money. And what that saved money is it's body fat that I'm losing. That means it's a calorie deficit. The more money that I save, the less body fat that I retain. The more I'm using more of my body fat, right? So saving money is better for me because that means I'm going to lose the body fat. Well, now what happens if I want to use more than 2,000 calories a day? At that point, you're taking out a bank loan, right? So you only have 2,000 a day. Now, if you want to splurge a little bit, have a higher calorie meal, you're gonna have to take out that bank loan. And that bank loan, in order to be at your equilibrium, is gonna have to come back a little bit at some point. You're gonna have to pay back that loan. Well, the biggest problem for a lot of people is they've just been taking out bank loans every single day for years at a time. And they expect to start their fitness journey, start working out, maybe changing kind of up their diet, and they expect to pay back that loan immediately. And that's not the case. You have to decide how much you're going to give back on a daily basis or a weekly basis to pay back that loan. I mean, ideally what we're trying to get to is we're trying to get back to that equilibrium, right? Zero, maintenance, right? I haven't tracked a calorie in a very long time. Now I tracked my food and my calories for a good period of time to better understand quantities of food, how much food costs, as I like to say. And most people might think, well, counting calories or basically getting to a point where you know what everything costs you, that's bad, that's toxic, that's an eating disorder. No, it's a fucking superpower, okay? It is a absolute superpower because I'm able to look at quantities of food on a plate and understand what it's gonna cost me to eat it or what gain I'm gonna get by eating it and understanding how it fits into my daily structure, really. So that benefit is just, it's something that is very important to people, and I implore you or encourage people to really understand and start tracking your food for at least a period of time to just better understand it. But back to the analogy, right? So you get, just say 2,000 calories a day. It's gonna be a little bit different for everybody to be at their equilibrium, but for the sake of example, we're gonna use 2,000, right? So on any given day, you're given 2,000 calories. That's your spending money, right? Which means I can eat 2,000 calories in a day, and now I'm at maintenance, right? Well, like I said, if I eat less than 2,000 calories, I'm saving money, right? And I can bank that saved money for stored body fat. I'm in a calorie deficit. This is exactly what that is. I'm eating 300 or I'm spending 300 less dollars a day than I have to, which means I'm gonna reap the benefits of that. I'm gonna lose a little bit of weight, right? But if I want to go over that 2,000 calories, I'm going to have to take out a loan. So now I'm going to go to the bank and I'm going to, borrow $500 from the bank. And so now I have a current debt of 500 that day, right? Because I ate 500 more calories than I needed. Well, that's okay. 500 calories isn't bad. You can burn that off by, just not eating a snack for 3 days, right? Or maybe even just going on a walk. 10,000 steps, you're killing that 500. Easy, right? Well, the case for a lot of people is they've been in debt for a very long time. They've been taking out loans for days and days and days and days and days and days and days. And now they have a total debt of 100,000, right? They have to pay that loan back. That's something that you can't just drop off immediately. You have to pay that back. And how do you pay that back? You have to make payments to the bank. Well, because you're not at equilibrium, you have debt, you have to pay back the bank. Now, every time when you save $300 a day, you can put that $300 to the bank, right? And now you owe a little bit less each day. And that really is a way to think about a calorie deficit is if you're overweight and you have a lot more body fat than you may desire or you don't like, you're more of in an unhealthy state, that means you've been taking out loans for too long and you got to pay back those loans. Now, you can either pay back those loans by exercising and burning more calories than you need, or what I really, really recommend to people that are in a really bad position where exercise might be very difficult to them, just start changing your food. Start changing your intake. 300 calories a day, right? During the weekdays, if you have 5 weekdays, 300 calories, that's 1,500 calories in 5 days. You do that over the weekend, you're at 2,100 calories just for 7 days, right? For 7 days of work. And that's only at a 300 calorie deficit in a single day, right? So it's important to think of that. Now, backpacking off of this, I know I'm kind of all over the place. I hope this video provides you a little bit of benefit or better understanding. Maybe there's little tidbits I'll pull out of here and make some shorts out of it. Understanding, okay, James, I understand. I need to be in a calorie deficit. I need to eat less calories than I need to be at maintenance, right? I understand the analogy that you're talking about. Every time I eat more calories than I need per day, I'm taking loans from the bank. Nobody wants to pay the bank back. You know, that's borrowed money. That's not your money, that's borrowed money, right? Well, I also don't want to be in a calorie deficit all the time because, you know, a mild calorie deficit can't, you know, I want to be able to eat as many calories or food that I want to be in a day, right? Okay, well, now we're going to talk about it on a daily basis because a lot of people were like, okay, I'm at 1,700 strict. I am at 1,700 calories strict for the day, right? Well, what that might look like for some people is a pretty good way to stay in that calorie deficit, right? So let me quickly write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This is another really good analogy that I like to use for weekly calorie gains. If you have a strict number that you're supposed to be applying to your life in order to pay back those bank loans, in order to, there goes my dryer. I'm gonna listen to the sound. If you have a certain amount of calories per day that you're supposed to be eating at in order to give back to the bank loan, right? In order to start losing that body fat, it can feel like a struggle sometimes when there's certain days that you may life just happens. Maybe you have to go out to eat, you want to be social. There's some days that you're going to eat more than that calorie deficit day, right? So something that helps people, shout out to my good friend Kenny, Kenny B, if you're watching. What I try to explain him to is that he had certain days where he'd be really strict with his diet and then other days where he would just completely blow it. And kind of what would happen is he just wouldn't lose any weight. He wasn't going anywhere in progress because at the end of the given week, after a 7-day period, he was not in a calorie deficit. And so something to think about is if Monday you have an allocation of 1,700, Tuesday you have an allocation of 1,700, right? We have 1,700 all through Monday through Friday. Those are the days we go to work normally, right? Now, ideally, over the course of this is a total calorie deficit over 7 days as of 2,100 calories, right? 3 times 7, 2,100. Yeah, I'm right. Okay. Now, Saturday comes around, and I don't know about you, I like going out to eat. Mexican food is my weakness. And so on Saturday, I get some quesadillas, and I get some tortilla chips and some queso, and I end up eating for lunch. I'm already at 2,200 calories for the day, right? Well, that's no longer in a deficit, right? We're borrowing money. We're in a surplus of 500 calories, which means we already outdid Wednesday, and we're well on our way for outdoing Tuesday, right? It's fine. But on Sunday, we decide, okay, I went to 2,200 calories on Saturday. That wasn't great. That wasn't the number that I wanted to. So I want to make sure that I stay consistent. And on Sunday, I'm going to make sure I get back to 1,700, right? Okay. Well, now at the weekly basis, we overate by 500, but we're still at, here, where are we at? 500, that would be 1,600. We're still at a 1,600 calorie deficit because we decided not to go overboard on that next Sunday. So take it as a weekly average, okay? The weekly average matters a lot more than the daily average, right? Or if you were at 1,700 on this day, and just say Wednesday you had 1,500. I mean, if you're working out, I don't think you should eat that less, but if you're just focusing on calories, you're at 1,700, you're at 1,700, you're at 1,500 here. Well, this 1,500 just made up this 500. Now we're at only 300 surplus over the week. And then we're back on 1,700 there. So now it's only 300. So now we're at 1,800 calorie deficit. We're paying back the bank 1,800 calories this week. And it's all because we've just adjusted our calories. So if you guys like to go out to eat on the weekend, maybe lowering your calories a tad during the week and then allowing yourself to eat more on the weekend is better, more beneficial for you. Now, with that being said, I said that I had Mexican food for lunch, right? Mexican food for lunch, 2,200 calories. Well, dinner's coming up. I'm at 2,200 at lunch, okay? Because I'm not just eating 4 chips. I'm at 2,200 at lunch, right? It's probably wise to not go overboard for dinner. Because regardless, like if you can have one bad day, right? You can have one bad decision. You can get off track and you might feel bad about it. You can get off track, but don't let it go overboard. Because if you let it go overboard, that's where it goes to extreme. Because if you're already 2,200, right, and you say, whatever, what's another 1,200 for dinner? You're at, 3,400 calories for the singular day. You just blew all your progress for the week in a single day because you decided to, the phrase I like to use is eat like an asshole. Because you decided to eat like an asshole for lunch and for dinner in one single day. And the purpose of this, I want to get this point across. When I'm talking about calorie deficits and I'm talking about understanding what you're eating and I'm talking about really defining where you need to make sacrifices, this is for people that need to lose weight. Like you have to understand, if you have a lot of body fat to lose and a lot of weight to lose, you owe that money to the bank. You've already had meals and meals and meals and meals and meals like this ahead of time. It's not that you're completely removing them from your diet now, but you do have to give up a little bit in order to earn back what you've already eaten in a surplus. The calorie game it's coming down to what your body needs. And if you've been eating way more than you've needed for an extended period of time, it's going to take a little bit of time to get back to equilibrium. It's okay? When you're in equilibrium, it's easy to have a bad day and then get back on track and then just eat at maintenance for a while, maybe do a little extra walking. And your body's not going to fluctuate all that much. It's going to seem like just normal to lose a pound, gain a pound here. But if you are in excess, you have 40 pounds, 30 pounds of body weight to lose, you've been taking out loans and you have a lot of debt. And if you have debt, that doesn't mean you take out more debt because that just adds to your debt. I know I've said debt like 12 times. You get what I'm saying? Understand where your calories are going and understand that the more you eat or the more you've eaten in the past, you have to work that on. You have to work that off. And don't feel bad about your past decisions. Don't let them make decisions for you in the future, okay? Your past decisions are not to be the reason why you can't move forward, okay? Those are past decisions, right? Think of it, past. Your past decisions do not dictate what your choices are now. If you've made these bad choices in the past, that doesn't mean you have to keep making them. That doesn't mean you're stuck. You can get this money back. Make the good choices now and get that better benefit. Okay? If you guys have any questions, I know this is probably high level. Some people might not even benefit from this, but I wanted to talk about it.